I have never abused a new car as badly as I've abused our poor Model Y. In less than 2 weeks, we've put 1,000 miles on it, driven on wet roads, muddy back roads, really wet roads and rain, and ice and snow. How did it do in very cold ice and snow? Let's find out. Greetings from Asheville, where the car is nicely ensconced in snow now. Interestingly enough, it looks like the forward-looking camera is somehow it managed to melt itself. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, white Christmas for sure. Quite beautiful. Unfortunately, we have to get home today, and it's going to be an interesting drive. Looks like the roads are actually pretty clear. So it's mostly going to be getting out of the parking lot. So we're going to see how the whole slip start and snow driving thing goes. Good luck to us, because underneath this snow is a really nasty layer of ice because it was raining hard before it snowed. So we'll see how it goes. Hey y'all, it's Dr. Know-It-All. So after our trip down to southern Georgia last weekend, covered in this video linked up here, we went up to Asheville, North Carolina for a couple of days this week for a mini Christmas trip. Turns out we got about 15 centimeters of rain yesterday, which then turned into ice and snow today as the temperatures dropped to -8 degrees centigrade, or somewhere around 16 degrees Fahrenheit. So this morning we woke up to a frozen, lovely winter wonderland in the mountains, but we had to drive home in it in our Model Y. So what did we discover, both good and bad? Well, here goes. First, the bad. Cranking the climate controls up to max to unfreeze the car took about 50 miles of range off the car's estimated distance, which meant that we then had to pay a quick visit to the Asheville supercharging station in order to get home with a good deal left to spare. We may need to route through a supercharger in Greenville because we burned through so much heating the car up that it says we have to stay below 70 in order to make it. So we'll probably have to just detour, or maybe we can just stop at the one in Asheville for like 5 minutes. Yeah, we probably do that. That'll probably be the easiest. Also, the cameras were completely iced over. So for the first half of the trip, it would not happily drive in Enhanced Navigate on autopilot mode. Though it did engage, it kept complaining and saying that I would be restricted on my next trip, so I shut it off. I was like, I don't want to get restricted. So I find this kind of cool. It says right front fender camera blocked, but it still has, like, if we wanted to, it would do the automatic cruise control. Not going to do it. Kind of scary out here with all the snow, but I'm sure all of the northern people are like, yeah, whatever, I see this every day, but we don't get to see this too normally down in the south, so it's interesting. I don't know if it will heat itself up and it will clear itself during the trip or not, but I expect it probably won't since it's on the exterior. And honestly, that was fine. The conditions were pretty bad at the beginning with icy sections on the bridges and a lot of salt spray being kicked up all over the place on the highways. I also found that the rear liftgate was difficult to open with all the snow on it. I had to actually give it a hand because the motor wasn't quite strong enough. But, once I cleared that stuff off and a lot of it had melted, that was fine then. The biggest bad thing we found out, however, was the door handles. I know this is fairly uncommon to have the car in heavy rain that then flash freezes, but it does happen. I'm from the north and I know it does. And the door handles this morning were frozen shut solid, like you couldn't push them to open them up. I put the car on max heat for an hour to try to unfreeze the handles from the inside, but no luck. And that was why, of course, we lost the 50 miles of range. You can see it's warming up. That's definitely melting the snow off the front. One thing that would be super helpful, although it's very, very particular, is I can't get in to the car right now. It is totally frozen shut. So having some sort of like warmers on the door handles would be really cool. I'm not sure what we're gonna do. We may have to pour some cold water on it or something to try to like defrost it so we can get into the car, or else I may have to crawl through the back, which is a little ridiculous. But anyway, such is life. At least the climate control thing is warming it up, so that's nice. The rear liftgate worked with a bit of help, like I said, since it was really heavy, but the doors would not unfreeze, even with the very, very hot interior. So I had to resort to pouring cold water on them to unfreeze them enough to open them. And I know this is an iffy thing and it's not a great idea because the doors can freeze even harder, but honestly, they were so frozen solid, I didn't think it could get much worse. Plus, of course, I knew we would be driving into a warmer climate and eventually into our garage. So it was a pretty safe bet to do that, and it shouldn't have been too bad, and it wasn't too bad. Anyway, that was the biggest negative that we noticed. As for the good, it handled the icy snow like a champ.
I put it in slip mode for getting unstuck from the snow at the very, very beginning and backed out and then down a reasonably slopey, icy, snowy parking lot slope. It worked great there with no problems at all.
So we're going to try this. Actually, it'll be most interesting from outside anyway. We're going to try the off-road assistant or whatever, slip start, since we are on ice, baby. So we're going to try it out. We will see how it goes. Switching camera operators. Yes, it's chilly. It's -8 out there now. Got slip start enabled. I'm thinking if I manage to screw this up, I really hope I don't, but if I manage to screw it up, it'll be recorded for all posterity. All right, here you go. All right, here we go. Wish us luck. This is going to be the most interesting part of the trip right here. All right. I don't know why somebody always texts me right at the interest of like when we're doing filming. All righty, here we go. It's doing really well so far. Actually, I have really good positive traction. As soon as we get out of the main road, I'll take it off the... Oh, there we go. Nice. Yeah, that was great. All right, I'm gonna stop
in the
and
mode.
put it into normal mode, and off we go.
Why is my mirror like this?
Oh, I think the mirrors are frozen. Well, okay, we need to fix that problem.
Yeah.
All right, we will stop somewhere. I didn't realize the mirrors were frozen.
I don't like how this sounds.
I know, it's all crunchy. Ugh. Ugh. Oh no. I'm scared to like push him too hard because I don't want to break it.
Maybe pouring water and getting it cleared
maybe
out.
If I... Okay,
Of course, it'll ice.
You probably want to close the window so it doesn't look like it's spilling into the car. I really honestly have no idea. I'm kind of the opinion just leaving them alone until they decide to do what they're going to do.
Can you see?
But
I mean, it's just that
the back is fine.
the back is...
Yeah, the problem is, I guess the thing to do would
It's
be
just so low visibility.
well, we can walk away and see if it'll like lock, and then when we come back, see if it'll open. But we'll have to both walk out of the car like a few feet. Okay, so just to note this, by walking away and having it lock and unlock, it seemed to fix the problem. Although I know I poured cold water on it, and that's not the right thing to do, but at least it wasn't warm water. So yeah, that seemed to unfreeze it enough that it worked.
During the whole drive home, even on icy patches, I never felt the car slip at all. It always had really good contact with the road. And even though the wind was blowing really, really hard and the roads were iffy at best, it was really, really good. Clearly the two-motor all-wheel drive plus the weight of the car made it extremely stable. I know our front-wheel drive Mazda would have had a tough time in the parking lot at the very least. Also, the extra charging on Christmas morning was actually kind of fun. There were lots of other Teslas there, and we tanked up for like 20 minutes, which is enough to get us home with 90 miles or so to spare. So then we didn't have to worry about the range at all the rest of the day. It was also really weird to keep driving by gas stations and look at the price of gas and then suddenly go like, wait, I don't need to worry about that stuff. It's all taken care of. I'm just going to go home and plug it in when I get home. Also, enhanced autopilot worked like a champ. Even with the blocked sensors, the traffic-assisted cruise control mode worked really, really well, as did enhanced navigate on autopilot when I enabled it, but I turned it off due to all the warnings. And about halfway through the trip on 85 South in South Carolina, enhanced navigate on autopilot stopped giving those warnings, and the rest of the way on both interstate and a really, really windy single-lane highway, it worked awesome.
All right, so we're going to test the full self-driving. Enhanced navigate on autopilot, whatever. It's really windy back here. So it's been doing pretty well so far, so we'll see how it does on the next couple of turns. Creeping out though.
So this is a little bit of a turn. It's doing okay on that. Sorry about the windshield. The windshield wiper the windshield washer is frozen, so there's not much I can do about it right now. Yeah, okay. So this is cool. A little narrow bridge. Ooh, steer clear of the bridge. And coming out the other side, there's a big turn. It actually slows down a little bit. You can feel it like apply the brakes as it's going. See how it does with this, because this is like a big turn coming up over a hill. Okay, good. Good. And there's a brake in the middle of the turn, and it handled that well. Cool. Okay, here comes another narrow bridge. Yikes, with the car coming at the same time. Oh, handle it, car, handle it. Nice. Oh, very nice. Right down the middle, felt very safe. Okay, here's the turn I was thinking about. This light goes up. So it is braking, that's good. It's slowing itself down. And then we got another turn coming up. It's interesting that it doesn't visualize the turn signal, or that arrow thing showing you, but it does seem to be taking it into account. And then one more turn up at the end of this straightaway. All right, let's see how it does this. Changing light conditions. This was the one I was thinking about right here. And big sweeping turn. Oh, it didn't even slow down. Wow. I would have slowed down for that. It didn't do it. Handled it fine. And all right, one more turn. And then we'll get to, okay, it slowed down for that one. Alrighty. Big turn. Big turn the other way. Cars coming. It's actually been nice having cars coming at us, because chance to check out whether it's doing okay. And then this is the end of the whole thing. It gets straighter after this, but that was a pretty good windy section, and it handled that. No interventions, no nothing. Just keeping my hand on the wheel to make sure that it's happy with me. All right, good job, Tesla. Let's talk about the conclusions in just a moment, but first, if you enjoy this video, definitely like it so other people can find it, and also please do subscribe, because we've hit 10,000 subscribers. Thank you, everybody. And so I'm going to be doing a 10,000 subscriber giveaway video in one of the next couple of videos. I promise I'll get to it. Too close to Christmas right now, too much going on, but I'll get to it in the next couple of days. So definitely make sure you subscribe for that, since that's one of the requirements. Also, a big shout out to my patrons on Patreon. You guys have been wonderful. Thank you all so much. And as always, a thank you to Zenly Music for the intro and conclusion music. Definitely check him out on Instagram or YouTube. And finally, if you're in the market for a new Tesla, definitely click on our referral link. If you use that link and buy a car, you get 1,000 free supercharger miles, and so do we. And actually, that has turned out to be awesome. It was one of those 1,000 free supercharger mile things that we used on this trip to charge ourselves up, so that was great to have free charging. All right, and conclusions. I'm sure for those living in Boston or New York City or Berlin or Paris or something like that, this is fairly old hat knowledge. But for us Southerners or Californians or etc., it's really cool to find out how the Model Y works in rough conditions. This is not something that we're going to get very often down here, so it was really cool to have a chance to see how it worked in snowy and icy conditions. Except for some range issues, and especially the door handle issue, it really did work like a champ the whole trip. I am curious, however, how Tesla plans to complete level 4 autonomy. With the sensors blocked in these gross conditions, it clearly needed me to drive it. I don't know, maybe more of the sensors will get heat units built in. The main front camera section clearly has a heater unit built in, because you could see it was melted out around where the camera was in the front of the windshield. Clearly the front camera cluster is the most important unit, but the other cameras are important too. So it seems like maybe a hardware 5 version or something with heaters built into the other cameras will be needed for all season level 4 autonomy. In general, however, for us human drivers, the car was very confidence inspiring and really pleasant to drive under much less than ideal conditions. Now I just have to get the car to a car wash to give it a really good bath tomorrow. I can't believe this poor thing is still less than 2 weeks old and it is as dirty and gross as it is. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that video and found it informative and interesting. If you did, definitely like and subscribe for more of that. Also, be sure to ask me questions in the comments or at my email address, which is DrKnowItAllKnows@gmail.com. Till next time, bye-bye.